morning. I'm on my way to work. Just want to share a few ideas with you this morning. Came across a Gemara a few weeks ago in Yuma. Learning Yuma now with there's a program that the Satmar Rebbe from Monroe has to learn an Amud of Gemara every day, 5 days a week. So you wind up doing 2.5 daf a week. It's a little bit, easier to handle than the daf yomi. Although I myself have been also doing, I went above and beyond the daf yomi. I'm in the middle of Chulin right now, actually. In the first third of Chulin. So I went trying to keep at least like 2 Masechtas in front of daf yomi, and Art Scroll helps that out a lot. I'd like to really do more than that, although one of the books is on back order. Usually on Shabbos I try to go ahead and do maybe 7 or 8 blocks, something like that if I can. The Kutch was a little bit difficult, but it's not impossible, so we'll see what happens. But I do have a goal of finishing shots before the daf yomi, which if at least I do a daf every day, which I've been doing the past few days, I should be with that. I should be good with that. But I have some books on back order, so we'll see what happens there. The idea I want to share is the Gemara in Yuma. Very beautiful story, very important story. I think it teaches a very strong lesson, and also has an interesting connection to Parshas Korach. So, you can picture after Yom Kippur, in the times of the Second Temple, the honor being shown to the Kohen Gadol, to the high priest, as he left the Holy of Holies, and you can almost say miraculously he survived, especially the Second Temple. So many of the high priests actually died in the temple, and if they didn't die in the temple, they usually, maybe they had some schus, but not quite enough that they weren't marech yomim. They didn't have long lives. And because a lot of the priests were heretics, were Sadducees. It's quite sad, you see. So it was a bit of a different approach. They were appointed by the Roman government. They were corrupt people. They were not deserving of the respect that they had to be the high priest, but they had the title. And so too, if I would have met Barack Obama when he was the president, even though he wasn't deserving of the honor for his own personal sake, but to show honor to the office of the presidency and to show honor to the country, I would still show him some honor, in that sense. So, here we have a president who deserves the honor because he's doing his job. Whatever he does in his private life, it's between him and God and him and his family. But what he does publicly, he does his job. His job isn't to be a high priest. His job is to be the president. But the high priest, his job is to be a high priest. I heard that in England there was something where they were crowning a new chief rabbi in the 1870s or something. So Sir Jonathan Sachs should be a very fine person who has a lot to add to the world, very talented rabbi. He was the chief rabbi of England, now he's the chief rabbi emeritus. He says years ago he said he had on the wall in his office a newspaper clipping from the 1870s, and it says something about, the inauguration of the new high priest of the Jews. That's how they referred to the chief rabbi in this newspaper article. Rabbi Sachs said, in the 1870s the chief rabbi was the high priest, and now he's the scapegoat. But all this being said, in ancient times the high priest wasn't always the high priest, even though he's supposed to be. And that's, we've always had the idea that outside of the priesthood there were the prophets, meaning, there's the crown of priesthood and the crown of royalty. So the crown of priesthood goes to Aaron, and the crown of royalty goes to David and their sons after them. And then there's the crown of Torah that anyone can go and receive, and the crown of Torah is greater than the other two crowns for many reasons. It's been mentioned several times in Chazal. It's well known in the 6th chapter of Pirkei Avos, that we liturgically add to Tractate Avos. It's the price of Rabbi Meir, actually. And it's mentioned in the Gemara in Yuma as well, and many other places. It's actually right there in Yuma. And all throughout Shas we have this teaching that the crown of the three crowns, the crown of priesthood for Aaron and his sons, the crown of royalty for David and his sons. On my mother's side, I'm a descendant both of Aaron and of David, but I don't have those crowns because it doesn't go from the mother, but I do have that ancestry. My mother's mother was Bas Kohen, and my mother's father had the Yichus to Malchus Beis David. Also, but at least the Baba, her father was a Kohen, and the Zayda wasn't directly, but he was an Einik from Moral Prague, who was known to have been from Malchus Beis David. But in any event, Yichus isn't really what's important. It's the Keser Torah, and the thing is that the Keser Malchus and the Keser Kahuna, either one of those can go well together with the Keser Torah. Meaning, you're supposed to, the Melech, the king, and the Kohen, the priest, are supposed to also, it's enough that there's enough room on their head for both crowns. But unfortunately, throughout history, we had, whether Kahuna or Malchus, whether priesthood or royalty, who were not wearing the crown of Torah. But Baruch Hashem, we had other people who did wear the crown of Torah. All throughout history, you have a direct Masorah, almost an apostolic succession of the Masorah of Torah, of the tradition being received from one teacher to the next, of Torah, right to this very day that we have a direct Masorah back to Har Sinai, back to Moses. The crown of Moses, it's quite important that Moses' children, perhaps as sad as it is that they didn't follow in his way, that he was succeeded by a student, by Yehoshua, as much as he wanted his own sons to be his successors. As sad as that is for him personally, and unfortunate when it happens anywhere, it's a great lesson, though, that anyone can receive the crown of Torah, and that's something that's received not father to son always, although it can be and it should be, but can go from master to disciple. come and receive the crown of Torah. So the Gemara in Yuma tells the following story of a Kohen Gadol leaving Kodesh Kodashim, and it says, and the Mishnah tells us that there would be a party for his family, for all his friends and family, when the Kohen Gadol left in peace from the temple after Yom Kippur, after this great Avodah. What was going on there with the Kohen Gadol? So he left, and the people were showing him respect. And among those showing him respect were the Gedolei Ador, the Torah leaders, who were not priests. You know, in a certain sense, the rabbis are lay leaders. These were neither priests and they were not royalty, although some of our great leaders were royalty, like Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, from the royal family. But the Gedolei Ador not only were not priests and not princes, but the Gedolei Ador were Shmaya Vavtalion, who were they may have been converts themselves, or for sure they were the children of converts. And their yichus, their ancestry went back to Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, who exiled the 10 lost tribes. That was their ancestry. And these were the two greatest rabbis of the generation. And they also were showing respect to the high priest and begleiting and following him out from to his home. And so the people were kind of gathering around Shmai Naftalion and showing them respect, because really they deserved far, far more respect than the Kohen Gadol. The Mishnah tells us that even a mamzer, could say a bastard, it's not really exactly what it means, but it's someone who, from the most tainted ancestry, who is a Torah scholar, is superior and has privacy over, and there's nothing tainted about a convert's lineage, but we're just saying, even all the more so, that the scholarly and saintly person of a tainted lineage has primacy over the high priest who's an ignoramus. And unfortunately there were high priests who were ignoramuses. And so this high priest was among those ignorant type of high priests, but of course, having this position of the high priest, he was very arrogant. And so somewhat arrogantly, somewhat facetiously, sarcastically, Kohen Gadol says, Shalom Alecha, Shalom Aleichem, B'nei Ha'amim. So peace be unto thee, unto ye, the children of the nations, children of Gentiles. Shmai Naftali and the Gedolei Ador, the greatest rabbis of the generation. And so what were their answer? It said, better that there should be peace upon the children of nations who live in the way that Aaron lived, than the Bnei Aaron, than a child of Aaron, the children of Aaron, who don't conduct themselves in the ways of Aaron. Of course, we know Pirkei Avos tells us that we should be Talmidim Shel Aaron HaKohen. We should be the disciples of Aaron, the high priest. Oyev Shalom, Oyev Shalom, Oyev is a priest of Torah. We should love peace. We should pursue peace. We should love all creatures and bring them close to Torah. It's not just Jews. Everybody. Yershmai and Avtalion, they were B'nai Gerim, and they were the Gedolei Ador. And anybody, so the crown of Torah can be for anybody. If you go, but it's any Yerushalach. It's not something that's just received as a Yerusha. It's not something that's simply received as an inheritance, the way the priesthood and the royalty. It's something that you earn. And that's, I think, really the real message of Parshas Korach. See here, Korach was a Levi. He was a Levite. He was jealous of Aaron HaKohen and jealous of Moshe Rabbeinu. And Moshe and Aaron answered, your argument is not against us, it's against God, because God is the one who picked us. We didn't want this. We weren't looking for this. And the thing is, Korach could have had it. He was a Talmid Chacham, right? He knew how to learn. But so too, there are Talmidei Chachamim sometimes who become consumed with arrogance over their scholarship. And there is a reason to be proud of your scholarship, but that doesn't give you the right to lord over other people. The community gets to decide who they're hiring as a rabbi. Once the community makes that decision, then they have to listen to him, because they made that decision. They hired him. But it's not. I learned that lesson the hard way. I was a Rav out of town. You can't lord over people. They always say, a rabbi, it's not a job for a Jewish boy. The story, the old ladies are sitting talking in Florida. Oh, my son's a doctor, my son's a lawyer. Wow, what about your son? Oh, my son's a rabbi. So, a rabbi? What kind of job is that for a Jewish boy? But the thing is that we have to learn humility, and we have to learn how to, live the Uvda Aaron, live like Aaron. And we know what Pirkei Avos says that Korach wasn't a machlokas l'shem shemayim. It says, and it was Korach v'chol hadasei. It wasn't the machlokas Korach for Moshe. It wasn't the argument between Korach and Moses. It was the argument between Korach and all of his followers, his whole congregation. They were all fighting amongst each other. And they were very religious people, right? When the wife of On Ben Pelas went out without her hair covered, they wouldn't look at her. They were very religious. But being religious isn't everything. It's something, it's useful, it's worthwhile, but it's not everything, right? Remember what you what Malachi said to the Kohanim, to the priests. You think you're hot stuff because you're the priests of the true religion in Jerusalem? That doesn't mean anything. Every religion is a pure offering to God. From the rising of the sun to setting thereof, great is my name amongst the nations, says the Lord of hosts. Right? So don't think it's not saying that those other religions are true. What it's saying is, don't think you're hot stuff, because there are good people in those other religions. And God loves them just like He loves you. And most of them aren't so arrogant like you priests in the temple, Jewish priests in the temple. So what kind of Kohen should you be? It says, Kisef say Kohen Yishmur Das Tarish Mivaksh Mipiu Ki Malach Hashem Tzvokei, so that the lips of the priest are to guard knowledge, and you should seek out Torah from his mouth, because he's an angel, Lord of hosts. And what the Gemara says, if the rabbi, if the teacher, if the master, whether he's a priest or not, or from Mamlachas Kohanim, if he resembles an angel, seek out Torah from his mouth, and if not, don't. So, and it's hard. It doesn't mean that any rabbi is perfect, but we should at least try our best. Do what we're supposed to do, and be worthy to fulfill what we're supposed to fulfill. And God should bless us all, that we should be worthy to the crown of Torah, no matter who we are, no matter where we come from. And it takes hard work, but we can do it. And when Torah Nim Shalomayim, when we really embrace Torah, it'll make us humble and cognizant and mindful, cognizant of God, and wind up really becoming true servants of God and fulfilling what we're supposed to do, to be a Mamleches Kaihanim Agay Kodesh, to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And we won't be like Korach anymore. Alright. And even the Bnei Korach, even Korach will have a tikkun at some point. Very interesting. What Reb Tzadok Lublin says, that Korach basically was living like Mashiach was here already. And it's very dangerous to do that, to take on a geula before the time, to pretend the geula is here already. And those type of groups tend to make problems. Zionism, Messianic Chabad, whatever it is, all kinds of Messianism, Shabtai Tzvi, they've made problems for the Klal Yisrael. But when we live just normal life and just try to be normal, and live a Torah life, and be humble and normal and good people and good neighbors, then we're fulfilling what the Torah wants from us. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe.